FOMC is one of the best trading events every month, guys. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can make as much money as you desire on FOMC. Not really, but honestly, yeah, because money is a byproduct of leverage. So however much you're willing to risk is how much you can make. But we're smart traders. We're going to trade smart. We're all about making smart decisions on this channel, in this community. If you want to join our community, check out the links below. We have a Discord. We had a pretty good week so far, really good week so far. A lot of people green, a lot of new members coming in. This is the absolute last day. I'll actually keep it open until the end of this week. We're going to do a 1-month free trial for the premium Discord. After that, it's going back to a 1-week free trial in order to join the Discord. So a ton of new people have joined. Love seeing it. Love seeing the growth. Let's go ahead and review FOMC from today and what some of the big hits were. Sorry about the hair. I was supposed to get a haircut right now, but now I'm doing this because my barber forgot about scheduling. If you're new here, my name's Forrest. I invest in stuff. I'm a day trader, primarily futures, also do options, swing trades, things like that. But we really focus on intraday price action on ES and NQ futures. So let's go ahead and share my screen and get right into it. So we're back here on NQ price action, some new colors for you. Standard setup, right? So we have our volume profile, we have our VWAP line, and our standard deviation bands. Okay, so if I cycle through these for you, turn each of these off. So first turning on our VWAP. So this is VWAP in blue and its standard deviation bands. And then we'll turn on the session volume profile HD, which will give us the volume profile for the session, and the POC, VH, and VAL. So the session just closed. It's a little after 5, which is nice. Market's not currently moving. That's great. So what were the big hits today? We had a very obvious range. You can see here that we sold off overnight. And if we go to the 1 day on NQ, we gap down. So we gap down overnight. This was bearish. I actually started the day up like $700 just from trading overnight session. I stayed up super late to do this. Kind of what I saw here is I actually swapped over to the daily, saw that we had, it's not technically not a gap down. You see the wick here, but it was a very bearish opening, right? After a bearish day. So if we go back to the 15, I know we're talking about today, but we'll get back to that. Go back to yesterday. You see that we had some very aggressive selling off yesterday into the close. Then we opened lower. We even said if we open lower, that's bearish. Why does that matter? Well, look at the session today. So we range, but we range down. We put in lower lows and lower highs. Eventually at 2 o'clock, which is the time of data. So data came at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You see that at 2 o'clock, we had this nice big aggressive move here. So let me actually zoom in to the screen. So this big green here was the 2 o'clock move. We started to base out on this deviation band, then we rocketed. So Sol was calling out a long here, a possible long here. If we investigate ES at this time, actually we'll leave this chart. We can see that ES, SPX, we want ES at 2 p.m. right around here was basing as well. It was doing kind of another bottom on the 15 minute. So on the 15 minute, we had this double bottom that formed in here, right? So we took this trade. Then we came down and we retested this area here. So we came through it, but we found support in this band and it rocketed. So the question on FOMC is, what are our targets? How do we decide where the price is going to go when these big data candles come? And the way that you can think about this are the sweeps. We're looking for sweeps of liquidity. We're looking for major untested bands. So at this time at 2 p.m., this band was untested, right? You see that we moved up into this band. We came through it, aggressive move. We were either going to go here or we were going to go here. Now we stopped here. If we go back to NQ and we use both of them in tandem, we trade them both at the same time, we can see that NQ actually came up to this macro level that I had already marked here on the chart, right? This 467, which was yesterday's close, right? So this was a major level. This was yesterday's close that we gapped down through. We tested it overnight, playing around with it overnight, and it came back and said, you know what? Let's do that one more time. So at this point, it's touching this on NQ. It's touching this on ES. That's where we were calling for a short. We have confluence there at this point in the market. It's a great time to try out a short. So at this point, it sells off. I did not hold this short that long. I actually only got a little bit out of this because I was multitasking at the time. So I only ended up with like $1,100 on the day. But if you would have caught this with really any type of size, even if you were doing 2 MNQ, 2 MNQ short here, and this is what I talk about in all my videos. You don't have to trade large leverage to make a lot of money. 2 MNQ is $4 a point times 200 points. What's 2 times 4, guys, is 800. Equals $800. So if you go short at the highs here, you go short at the highs here, and maybe you risk like 30 points even, right? Not even that much, right? It wicks through, you go short, you risk like 10, 20 points. You're risking like 80 points for 800, right? So the RR on that is about 10. It's a really, really good trade with a very small amount of risk. Even if you were trading a little bit bigger than that, maybe 5 in Q or 1 in Q, you still have a good trade setup because you have all of this previous support. This either is going to be the high with this band. You put your stop right outside the standard deviation band, either this high or this thing is rocketing. There's no like, it's not going to come up and like fizzle out here, right? It's going to rocket up to the next major level. Why? Because it's a data event, right? It's going to seek those major liquidity areas. And that's what's key to trading data, guys. It's going to seek out the big areas. So it hits this target, comes lower. What's it going to do? Same thing. We're looking for the sweeps. We're looking for the sweeps and major untested support and resistance. So it came through, swept the low. Where did it come down? It hit the other band and found consolidation there at the close. It was actually this video isn't that complicated. This was a pretty clean setup in terms of FOMCs. I was actually talking about in the Discord today how I don't really like FOMC because they're usually not this clean. It's one of my least favorite data events. Now, data events in general are a great way to make money. There are some people who only trade these events, which is why, FOMC, even though it's not one of my favorites, is one of the most traded days amongst traders. I prefer CPI. CPI is much more consistent of a read for me, but today was a good day. So it's not about being right or wrong on how you think the day is going to go. What's important is, can you adjust your read and catch the move? So let's take a look at just ES in particular, because I think ES had some pretty clear setups, especially on the 5. So let's take a look at the 5 minute. 5 minute today. We come back to the open. There was a lot of volume in the afternoon. Look at this increase in volume, guys, down here in the afternoon. So if we hit the replay on ES, this was really where we had things get interesting. We came down. I was calling for it might possibly double bottom here. And in Q at this time was also flagging. So when we talk about divergences in the market, and I know this is not the setup of this video, but I really want to talk about this price action on this day in particular. In Q at this time had a bull flag. So you have to ask yourself, okay, it's finding a possible double bottom here. In Q has a bull flag. So there's divergence, yes, but what's most likely to happen when you have a bull flag and this is forming a double bottom on two tickers that like to sync up? Well, they're probably going to sync up for an up move, right? And that's exactly what happened. So came back up, got onto the other side of the V, and then NQ went up and eventually hit its, if we look at 12 o'clock, around that time on NQ went from around here where it was flagging up into its VWAP, right? Let me go ahead and grab this line here. So it came out of here up into its VWAP. So that was a good trade, right? Called that out live. That's one way you can play the divergence. In terms of just FOMC though, I do want to call out this chop here midday. So we can let the rest of this play out. Boom, 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 boom. All this plays out. As you get close to the data, as you get close to 2 p.m., you want to be hands off. So as we get close to 1:30, 1:45, you see it starts to chop in here, right? This is hands off time for me. Even if there are trades, you want to be fresh, clear-minded, no distractions. You want to be able to just look at the price for what it is. Otherwise, because if you're focused on catching like a rejection off of VWAP into this lower band, right, from here to here, something like that, you're not going to be ready for this big move. And that's really the trade of the day. Like all these other trades are fine. It's nice to see them. But the real trades of the day that you really could have made your day, your week, or even your month on these events, and why there's such good trading events, guys, is that the moves come really, really fast. And they're obvious. I mean, this hit major levels here. We were bearish on the day just based off of how we opened, based off of how yesterday closed. There were a lot of really clear signals of how you could have levered into this, especially to the downside here, right, on this rejection. A lot of clear signals on the daily close. Let's go take a look at the 4 hour on ES. Bearish extension here, right? A lot of fallen candles down here after the previous candle close, coming down, low value area, right? It swept through this low volume belly and the volume profile. We've actually extended into this next area nodes, right? So we're probably going to find, if this keeps going down, if we don't bounce right here in this next session, which we'll know here pretty soon, the next few hours, if we don't bounce right here, we're going to go to 48.34. That's my bet. And you can check back on this video, see if I'm right. If we do bounce from here, we're going to reverse and erase this entire move, right? Up to 49.11, if not more. That would be my bet based off of the current price. How are we doing on time? I do want to wrap up talking about sizing though. So one of the things that you could do, and Apex has had these sales where you can pass in one day. If I was going to try to pass in one day, these are the type of events that I would look for. These, when you know it's going to hit a major liquidity target and you could go in and you know it's not going to reverse within inside of 10 points. And I say no in quotes because the market can do anything. But if I was going to actually try to risk blowing up an account like that, a funded account that, honestly, you're putting money into, you're putting time into, it would be on one of these candles, these events where you can get 10, 20 points instantaneously in one direction without it pulling back. but you got to get in and get out, right? So imagine you get a 50K account, allows you to get 10 cons, which is 200 a point times 20 points is equal to $4,000. Right, so you don't even need that. You only need 15 points, right? And that gives you 3K, minus your commissions, and you can pass instantaneously. So it's definitely doable. Sol and I were actually playing around trying to pass in a day just for fun. I did that while I was on the road. I wanted to see if I could pass in a day. So I passed one actually in power hour. It wasn't even an entire day. I just did it all in power hour, just high leverage scalps, like 4 or 5 points, going crazy. Really, really just momentum trades, which kind of shows you the power of trading when you are carefree. I would never do that with all my accounts. It's crazy. I know I can't do that with all my accounts, actually. The point is that it is doable. If you want to take that approach, and if you want to use Apex, give these, 1 day to pass sales, which honestly, I think most people should take their time. But if you want to do that, first use my code down below in the description. It'll give you 71% off or 80% off or 90% off, whatever the current sale is. My code is good for that sale. So use my code. Thank you. I appreciate you. If you use one of my codes, come to Discord, tell me, I'll give you a discount on Discord. But use it on days like this. These are the days to do it. They're going to allow you to pass with a high degree of certainty versus just throwing money down the drain. That's really it, guys, though. Very simple video. FOMC is a great event overall. One of the best events to trade. Not my favorite, but the stats don't lie. There's obviously a lot of opportunity there. I mean, you can literally look at the chart and see there was a ton of opportunity there, hitting both sides of the trading range with reasonable speed and momentum. Major liquidity targets were pretty clear. We called them out live on the Discord. Amazing day. It doesn't get any better than this, honestly. Like, this was a 10 out of 10 session, in my opinion, in terms of just opportunity, clarity in the charts, hitting VWAP, hitting VAL, bouncing off VAH, banding between the major areas on the volume profile. It was a really clean session. So I encourage you, if you're watching this video, to go and replay the session. I don't have time to do that. This video will be an hour, but you can do it yourself. Replay the session, journal it. If you caught trades, try to understand why. If you didn't catch trades, try to understand why. If you're losing trades, definitely understand why you made those mistakes. Journaling is so important. I have a free journal template. Click the link. It's wap.com/tradeedge. It's the same one that's below. It'll give you a link to my Discord, but there's also a link to a free journal down there as well. So if you need a journal template, use my journal as much as possible. The more tedious that you make this and the more of a practice that you make trading, the better that you'll be at it. There's no shortcuts. The real profits are in the work, the boring work, the everyday being a maniac. It's honestly how you get good at this. But my name is Forrest. I invest stuff. You should too. See you in the next video. Peace.